Welcome to the Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today. So tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, we have a lot to dive into as we are going to be covering some of the teases that are coming out from Rare, as well as what could be the next season coming a little bit sooner than originally anticipated. All that and more in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. But before I get into any of that, I have to thank the patrons. They are the ones that went over to patreon.com to show their support for this content. And believe it or not, during the month of December, I'm going to be giving a discount to anyone that signs up. So monthly memberships are going to have 20% off during the month of December, using the code GIVING. It's all capital letters, just the word GIVING, G-I-V-I-N-G. So that's going to be available if you guys want to jump in and help support. And we're looking for a way to save some money at the same time. Always appreciate it, but it's never required. But as such, I'd like to offer a thanks to those that are currently subscribing by calling out their names every episode. So thank you to A-Chick, L-Cute, Balls, Blue Turtle V1, Captain Chonky, Captain Longsharts, Chateau Noof, Super Pack, Zombie Killer, Cosmic Johnson, Static Mirror, Crazy Frog, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Godhammer 6, Carl Embo of Embo Family Gaming, Kylea the Aficionado, Elvin Vramir, Evil Morpheus, Space Admiral Oars, Xbox Mike 29, Rabid Raccoon, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, Ribloid, Rust Belt Kid, Sea Leg Sam, Shoe Daddy 13, Scamelt 666, Tales of the Sea, The Demon Jester, Tommy D, TN Professor, Wailing Witch, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, Hager Owl, Jeff H, Captain Duckweed, Evil Martha, Peter Miller, Rooski Doo, Thor Von Blitz, Luke Lore the Insipid Ghost, and Sam. Wow. Thank you all so much for the love, the support. It really does mean the world to me that you help do so, because it does actually take care of a lot of the payments and stuff that come with the podcast. So thank you, everyone. And I hope you have a good rest of your week. With that, let's get into it. First on today's docket, let's talk about the time-sensitive stuff that you should know about. I've already gotten a chance to take a little bit of look at this, so I wanted to give you guys a heads up that Sea of Thieves is doing something called the Treasures for Hope. So from December 1st through to the 18th, pirates around the world will have an opportunity to stream, donate, and celebrate the spirit of giving. And what you can do is you can either jump in and actually stream, like I know A-Chick is planning to, for a couple hours, or you can go ahead and donate. And if you donate, there are some rewards that you can actually earn depending on how much you donate. And you might be wondering, well, what are we donating to? So the Treasures of Hope is in celebration to help with the Global Gift Foundation. Now, the foundation and its mission was founded by the actress and philanthropist Maria Bravo. It is an international charity focused on supporting vulnerable children, women, and families globally. Some of the key services that they provide are things like medical care, educational opportunities, empowerment programs, and emergency support, but they tend to specialize on emphasizing on children with disabilities and special needs. The flagship kind of initiative is Casa Angelis, in state-of-the-art center offering specialized therapies, including physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, sensory rooms, and adapted sports to help children with chronic illnesses or special needs, so they can actually engage with that kind of stuff. The Treasures of Hope campaign is going to directly help the Global Gift Foundation in its continued mission, and hoping to kind of bring more children and families a chance at a brighter future. So it's definitely a worthy cause. I usually donate to a couple foundations for charities as far as like helping people with disabilities. So this is always like one of those situations where this is like right up my alley. I generally like when we're able to find charities that are kind of bringing stuff to folks that don't necessarily have that, or they need extra help with things. I've always really appreciated those whenever I do kind of donate. I mean, most folks usually have like requests when they go out shopping to kind of do the roundup thing. I love the roundup thing because to me, like less than $1 is typically easy for me to like jump into. But people like Steven Spawn, who are in charge of Able Gamers. Why am I blanking on the one that Rare always... Special Effect. Sorry, Special Effect. So Becky Frost, I think, actually came from Special Effect a long time ago. Now works at Rare. It's kind of cool to like take a look at some of these other charities, because it has been a while since Rare has kind of done one of these. The last time they did one, I think, was the One Big Game, where they were in partnership with different studios around the UK as well as Special Effect. This time they're working with Global Gift Foundation. And they are going to be working on the donations towards helping kids. So between the 1st and the 18th of December, all you have to do is donate. You'll receive a code going towards your Xbox. So effectively, you pick which of the treasure bundles you want, donate, and then you'll receive a code via email and redeem it on Xbox, Steam, PlayStation, or Game Pass. Some of the stuff that you can get as a result of your donating vary depending on the value. So for Americans, I'll use USD here because that's what I'm typically using. It'll vary depending on where your region is, though, obviously. But if you donate $5, there's the Onyx Wayfinder bundle. That's going to give you the Onyx bucket, the Onyx compass, and a voyage to Raid of Dark Fortress. If you go up to the next one, that one is called Dress to Impress. That is $12. And if you donate $12, you can get that bundle, and it will include the Twilight Hunter set, 100,000 gold, an exclusive pirate title, which I actually don't know what that is, but I'm kind of curious to find out. The next one up is a $20 donation. That is called the Battle Bounty, and that is the Obsidian throwing knife, the Ebon flintlock pistol, the Ruby Splashtail ship set, and 10 levels of renown, which I'll get into that in a minute. And then the Horde of Hope. That is the biggest tier that you can donate to. And that one actually is $31. And the Horde of Hope includes everything in the Onyx Wayfinder, the Dress to Impress, and the Battle Bounty treasures. So that basically everything. So if you were to get these all individually, let's see, we'll do a little math here. You know how much I love doing math when I'm recording a podcast. If you do a little math, we'll say 5 plus 12 plus 20 is $37. So if you need, say like myself, if you want to get the special title, and you don't necessarily need the raid on the Dark Fortress voyage, and you want the Ebon flintlock pistol and the Obsidian throwing knives and 10 levels of renown, then I could probably go with the $32 two bundles, right? But if I'm going to invest in those two because I want the things that I don't have, then I might as well save the money and go with the $30 bundle. Not to say that, you can't donate more or you shouldn't donate more. I'm just saying it's a busy time of year. I'm already looking for Cyber Monday deals, looking for where I can save money. Spending a lot on stuff this season. But basically, if you're looking to get the best bang for your buck and still donate, if you need any of the two, I would say, unless it's the first two, which is the Dress to Impress and the Wayfinder, chances are going with the Horde of Hope is going to be the best opportunity for you. Now, here is the interesting thing about this. So this runs from December 1st through to December 18th. And the reason why I think it's important that we address this now, because we haven't, tomorrow is the first as of recording. I'm recording on November 30th. December 1st is literally Monday morning. That is when it will kick up. I think, and this is going to be my opinion, this is what I plan to do. I am going to hold off on doing this until the 11th. It'll still be within the 18th, but hear me out. We just found out that season 18, which is the Return to Devil's Roar, is going to begin on December 11th. And you may be wondering, well, why do you want to wait for the new season? And a lot of it just comes down to the fact that one of the benefits of this, and granted, I guess at the end of the day, you're going to get a code. So if you want to donate early, you can always donate early, and or when it begins, I guess would be a better way of going about it. You can always donate when it kicks off, or when you're watching one of your favorite streamers, if they happen to be going before the 11th. But what I would plan on doing in that case is, if you want to, if you haven't already finished your current season pass, then if you plan on going with the one that has the 10 levels of renown, then go ahead and finish off your pass. Don't even worry about it. Consider it a worthwhile jump, right? But if you have, like so many others, completed your seasonal renown, then I would wait to redeem this code, because the code itself will just hit your email box, and you just, snooze it until December 11th when the new season comes out. And when season 18 kicks off, what you can do then is redeem the code. You'll get all of the goodies, and the 10 levels of renown will actually be something that you can actually go and take advantage of. Because otherwise, like myself, like I'm sitting on season 17, my renown's been done for a while. I am not really going to benefit a whole lot out of this, right? I'm going to effectively just be wasting it at that point, right? So for me, donating whenever I want, getting the code, and then waiting till the new season is going to give me the absolute biggest bang for my buck. I'm not going to necessarily care about the Onyx bucket or the compass or the raid voyage. I've done those in the past. I'm okay with whatever that they end up being. I've already got the Twilight Hunter set. I don't necessarily need the gold, because gold's easy to get. The title is a winner for me. I got the Evan Flintlock pistol back in 2018, so I'm not worried about that. I don't want the Ruby Splashtail set. I think I have it, but I don't know why I would have it, unless I literally just, I don't know, maybe I had too much grog and bought it. I don't know why I would have done that, but that's a thing. The Obsidian throwing knives, that is something that I'm going to have to add to my repertoire, right? That's got to go in the collection thing. I may not grab it all the time, because there's plenty of really good throwing knives out there, but having it, no, this is the first time it's ever been offered. So obviously this is going to be the best time to actually get that. And then getting the 10 levels of renown. And the 10 levels of renown at the start of season 18, granted, may not be a big deal, right? Like 10 levels isn't a huge thing at the start of a season. Yeah, you'll get like the first tier of rewards, but for all intents and purposes, a lot of folks that play the game as one of their main games aren't too necessarily worried about their renown. It's the folks that are kind of dipping in and dipping out from time to time, maybe sailing once or twice a week, and getting stuff done, that they're the ones that are going to really want to take advantage of that seasonal round. So with that being said, I am probably going to shoot for the Horde of Hope, and the code that I get from that will probably sit in my inventory. Not inventory. I'm talking like inventory in my Gmail account. It's probably going to sit in my Gmail account till the 11th, because that's when I'll get the best bang for my buck. That's when I'll be able to take advantage of those 10 renown levels. So wanted to kind of toss that out there just as a pirate PSA, pirate service announcement, and give you all a heads up that I think this is not only is it a good cause, just the altruistic nature of it is fantastic. But it's nice that Rare one is getting back into charities, because I think that was something that was sorely missed for quite a while. And I don't know who didn't bother to do something about that, but I'm glad that whoever it was decided to finally step up and start working on that again. And two, I think that the stuff that they're offering is all fairly, like impressive stuff. There's a lot of people that did not get the Chips Ahoy cookies back in, oh God, what was that? 2019. and got the codes for the Onyx bucket and compass. There's a lot of people that don't have the Obsidian 6 piece bundle that still kind of floats around from time to time. A lot of people like the Twilight Hunter set. 100,000 gold isn't anything to shirk. And the exclusive pirate title, don't know what that is, but it's exclusive, like even if it's like Rat Catcher, you had to have played Battletoads during a certain period of time and gotten through it to a certain period of time to be able to get the Rat Catcher title. So a lot of people love those exclusive titles. I sit on my Boatswain or Bootswain title all the time. Could throw something else on there. I've got other relatively exclusive pirate titles, but having one that kind of like, says like, hey, I was willing to front the cash to support a charity. It's a small thing. And if I can, I would love to. I'll figure out the funds later on. And I don't know how this necessarily works, because it would be kind of cool to be able to gift this to people as well, too, in the spirit of giving, right? The spirit of giving, I would like to know if this is something that you can actually have as like a way to kind of gift it to someone else. So that's something I need to actually take a quick peek at here, because I don't know that you can do it for other people. I know you can do it for yourself, but I might actually take a quick minute here and see if I can find an FAQ, because if they have an FAQ and I can find out like this is what's going on, then I may actually see if I can actually give you all the heads up on that, because I think that would actually be a good way to kind of go about it as well too. So give me one sec. I am going to take a look. Actually, they do have an FAQ right here. So talks about that as far as how long you'll be able to donate. If there's a minimum age, you do have to, or actually participants of all ages are welcome. If you're under 13, please obtain permission from a parent or guardian before registering or donating. If you want to participate, there's a website that you can actually go to. It's just treasuresofhope.com. There's instructions there. Let's see. As far as setting registration goes, what is Ungame reward package? Oh, actually, that still doesn't tell me what the title is, unfortunately. It does have information as far as if you do happen to redeem the code on the wrong account. And this is one of those things that, because this is a charity, just be advised, like you will probably need to provide your legal name for this. It is a tax-based thing. It is a charitable tax receipt. I know that I tend to use taxes every time I do my taxes. I typically have to put in how much money I can remember donating throughout the year, because I'm really bad about actually saving those receipts. But that's one of those things that you can actually like do as well too. It doesn't look like there is anything in the FAQ that indicates that you can actually donate to them and get a code to gift to someone else. So that is one thing that I would say, if I had the opportunity, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Do like a giveaway for something like that. But it's one of those things, like, I'm sure there's a way to do it. I don't know. It's probably something you have to work out with the person, that whoever wins, them being comfortable with a certain amount of information that they provide to you. I'm not going to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do, but I do like the fact that they're actually doing this. I think that it's really cool. I think it's nice that we've had this opportunity in the past with getting like the Valiant Dawn sales, I think is what they were called. We've had other sales in the past that were time limited donations, required you purchased in game the actual sales with actual cash, and they gave you like the actual sales for that, and then the money went towards charity. So I've always appreciated when Rare does this. It always feels better to have them toss up some cosmetics or something special for the sake of donating. It's always a good incentivization for people to want to donate when they typically wouldn't actively go out of their way to do it. And at that point, it is one of those things, like, everyone wants to have limited time cosmetics. if Rare's willing to put in the time to actually build these out and then implement them and then work with the charity to actually get that set up and then do some promotion for it. It's nice that they're willing to put in that, because that's all man hours. That's all stuff that Xbox has to write off. Like you can't just be doing this kind of stuff and be like, oh yeah, like Xbox is okay with you taking time away from developing the game to work on something like this. Microsoft tends to actively promote a lot of charity-based endeavors, just from a side note here, but it's still one of those things. Like, people need to get paid, and if you're going to do anything charitable, it's going to have to get approved before it actually even gets like rolled in. So just the fact that this is all actually working and going as they planned, fantastic, great way, very altruistic or philanthropic, however you want to phrase it. Really nice that they're doing this. Really does go in with the whole gift giving spirit, so I definitely appreciate that as well too. Just it's a good time of year to be focusing on what you can do for other folks if you have the opportunity and the means. Next on today's docket, let's talk about Season 18 and Hourglass. Now, if you guys remember, back in October, we got word from Drew as they kind of sat down to talk about some of the changes that they want to have. Now, originally, these were intended to come in a November update, but as a result of the delay, they've subsequently kind of pushed that stuff off to the side, or at least kind of worked on it behind the scenes, as I haven't quite seen anything in Insiders to really address this. Now, bear in mind, I don't keep a close eye on Insiders because it's all forum based, and I generally dip into Sea of Thieves Insiders once a week if I remember to kind of go and take a look and see like what they are working on, what can I test, and then obviously work towards my rewards for that as well too. But I wanted to bring this up as a result of what we can expect with the seasonal kind of layout right now. We kind of understand what's going to happen. They're going to bring in an introduction to the world, either through new voyages or new exploration, something fresh for the sandbox, story, stuff like that in the first month. The second month is probably going to tie into that fairly well, but they are going to bring in the event, which will be the month-long event during the second part of the season. And then the third part will most likely be their refresh on an old system. In the last season, in season 17, this was fortresses. They brought in the Reaper fortresses, which kind of shined some of the old skeleton forts that we had been doing for so long by adding in new traps, by adding in the new guardians, or not guardians, what are they called? The Brethren courts ships into that, and effectively just kind of change things up a little bit to bring some interest to the Reaper fortresses, as well as giving it a new kind of like a cloud in the sky. With the third act in season 18, I anticipate it being driven towards the Hourglass battles and seeing how those play out, which kind of goes into what Drew had talked about back in October. So some of the things that we can expect with that refresh on Hourglass, if everything comes in, which hopefully it will, they have the time. I guess they have time. They don't necessarily, that doesn't necessarily mean that because they have still some time to work on it, that it'll actually happen. Just caveat there. But they are looking to, again, go back to the integrity of the experience, which I, for one, think is a fantastic way to kind of start addressing some of the issues with Hourglass. And they're looking to do this by locking access through progression gates to ensure that fresh pirates can't jump in and go into Hourglass right away. There's pros and cons to this, as always, but one of the biggest things that you can really kind of say is that having pirates who don't know what they're doing, who have just kind of effectively been thrown into the mix, will find themselves in Hourglass. And that's not necessarily a great experience for them because they may not realize what it is. They may not understand what they're doing. It's just a thing on the table, which is why people that generally get on board a ship are jumping into the voyage that is on the mast, because if you're not truly familiar or understand what to do, a lot of fresh pirates just end up going up to the Briggsy quest because it's the first thing that they encounter when they get on a ship. So with them doing progression gates on pirates to get access to the Hourglass, I think that will be a way for you to be able to prevent things like cheaters. Now, that's not to say that cheaters aren't going to find a way to kind of circumnavigate the gates there, but it will cut back on a lot of people from having pirates who have that access. And to be perfectly honest, I think that that's a good way to go about it. Do I think that people who are enjoying Hourglass should have to be Pirate Legend before they can enjoy Hourglass? That I'm not sure on. I'm not sure where the gates should be, because I have heard that, Pirate Legend should be the gate that people kind of go based on. I don't know if I would agree with that. But I do think it's worth it that we kind of take a look and see, like, okay, well, if Safer Seas ends at level 25 for progression on the different trade companies, you don't want pirates who only have access to higher seas for anything beyond 25, or I guess 25 shouldn't be where it is, because that's where Safer Seas is. I don't necessarily think that hitting Pirate Legend is yeah, see, even thinking about it, I think Pirate Legend would still be a good way to go about it. It proves that you made it through Safer Seas and you got up to 25, and that you went to high seas and you sailed around in high seas for a while, enough to hit Pirate Legend, which I don't think is terribly difficult these days. And it kind of ensures that you are able to survive, that you're able to kind of, hold your own. If you're able to get Pirate Legend, then you're at least able to hold your own, which I don't think is a bad thing in this case, especially if you're talking about going into Hourglass. You should at least have access to the emissary for Athena's Fortune and Reapers. Now, Reapers, you really don't need to get to a certain point for that kind of thing. So I think that that's a little bit harder of a thing to gauge, but I think you should at least be Pirate Legend. Now that I'm really kind of thinking about it, I think people that have hit Pirate Legend should be the representatives to defend a pirate's life on, the Athena Fortune, the Guardian way, right? That's what I would imagine. So as much as I hate to say that Pirate Legends should be the bare minimum for Hourglass, I think that might actually be one of the better reasoned means of getting it, to ensure that they not only do they have the emissary flags, but they've also already been on the seas for quite some time. How is that going to actually work out? I don't know, because it feels like a high bar to hit for casuals to enjoy a mode of the game that if you start labeling it as Legend only, you're going to start running into that situation where it's like, well, yeah, there's still like, I still don't think that Pirate Legends are the majority. I think they are still the minority in the grand scheme of people who are playing Sea of Thieves. I think a lot of casuals are playing Sea of Thieves and have yet to hit that. And if they're enjoying Hourglass, and that's what they want to play, it's really hard to kind of say like, oh, well, the thing that you have been enjoying is no longer accessible to you unless you're actually going to go and hit Pirate Legend. And then they may have to go do stuff that they may not want to do. And that's, I'm very interested to see what that balance looks like and what they decide on, because it's going to be potentially impactful for a fair few people. The next little bit is that they want to better control the length of arena fights, or not arena fights. I'm reverting. Hourglass fights, by closing the circle to try and alleviate some of the strain of people who have come down to the game of attrition. I know this is unpopular for a fair few who will eventually outsupply another crew and win through sheer attrition of battle. And there are merits to that. But I think that if your skills are best laid defensively, then there's growth opportunities there. that would help to capitalize on opportunities during a fight to ensure victory or encourage aggressive behavior, as opposed to every time you go into a solo Hourglass fight, you hit a ship 3 times and they pull out of the circle. And then you're like, well, those 3 shots and my angle are completely ruined because they pulled out of the fight and I don't have a way to capitalize it. And I missed out on the opportunity there. One thing I am kind of curious about, and I know this is not going to fly. I know this is a hot take. If I ever had a hot take, I would absolutely say that for sloops in Hourglass, chain shots should demast a sloop. 1 chain shot. I know it's 2. I know that 2 is important, but that kind of goes into the next little bit that Drew talked about, which was reducing the prep time on supplies, automatically raising the emissary flag, and then quickly getting back into a rematch. Now, if they want to address resupplies and make sure that everyone starts off with the same amount of things, and they are relatively kind when it comes to the number of chain shots you get, then I may retract that, because I think that it's going to matter how many chain shots you get, especially if you're on a brig or a galleon. 3 chain shot out of 10 is not enough for your entire crew. Like if you've got 4 people and everyone grabs 1 or 2, that's 8. You only have 2 left, which means 2 people get 2 chain shot, which means no one person can take down all of the masts on a galleon. Now, granted, teamwork, whatever you want to, obviously it doesn't have to be like that, but hot take, I think 1 chain shot on sloops in Hourglass alone. Hourglass, totally different scenario. I think the expectation should be if you chain shot any mast in Hourglass, 1 should be enough to demast. I think having that would really kind of swing the battle. I think it may come down to whoever happens to land the first chain shot, and then it kind of goes into a turtle. But I mean, that's a balance thing. I think that's just kind of like you have to kind of play around with it, see how people like it, see if people don't like it. We've obviously had, things in the past, like if you jump while trying to reload, it cancels the reload. That was a thing that got tested in Insiders that nobody liked, but would have probably prevented a lot of the bunny hopping that happens in PvP. So I know that would probably be a very hot take, but I think that if you're looking to cut back on the amount of time it takes for players to win an Hourglass fight, I think if sloops had demasked a lot easier, I think that might improve that kind of expected play style where people kind of get hit a couple times. They may not get demasted, but then they immediately pull out of the engagement circle, whatever you want to call it. And I think if you can land a chain shot on someone's mast as they're trying to like disengage, then that would prevent them from being able to run and give you that opportunity to continue capitalizing on the already good pressure that you've made. And subsequently, I think that that's one of those things, like it just needs to be tested. But if I had to toss out a hot take, I think that would be it. Overall, though, I will say that them looking to reduce the prep time needed by adjusting supplies, I think like that's fantastic. That's exceptional. Automatically raising emissary flag ensured profit or progress for pirates who win, because there are sweats out there that, for whatever reason, just jump into Hourglass, but then they don't ever they don't bring anything to the table. They just come in and try to murder everyone, which that's their prerogative, but it isn't very fun for the people that are trying to actually progress through the levels. Like the people that have already gotten their double golds, curses, like for them, it's not fun. You bring nothing to the table except your your efforts. And if you happen to lose, you gave them absolutely nothing except for the minuscule amount of like reputation that that sinking them and winning the fight offers. Like the flag is something that just kind of helps progress as well too. And then quick rematches. Like having a way to better get into the fight is one of those things that I think is desperately needed when it comes to Hourglass. The amount of downtime you have, the amount of time to dwell on the sink is too much. Like in my personal opinion, the whole sinking scene that you have after you lose your ship, I think is unnecessary. Salt in the wound. Don't think you should have to see it. Don't celebrate the, I think Caleb actually said this. Don't celebrate the negatives. Like you already lost. I don't need to see my ship in a bunch of wreckage. That's not positive to me. That doesn't reinforce me to feel good about the loss, especially if it was a close one. Let me just get in and into the next fight. Let me just jump in. I don't care if I'm tilted. That's on me. But don't celebrate the loss. I really dislike that. That is not something that you want to do. No one ever wants to sit there and like just simmer in the fact that they didn't win. Nobody likes losing. So getting back into a match quickly, especially if you've invested time in getting supplies to try and have a better opportunity to win, absolutely will be welcomed. I definitely appreciate that. They've also said that they want to take a look at how you match and giving you more opportunity to look for more equaled matched fights. Now, they've said that there's an internal MMR matchmaking ranking. That's not been something that's ever visible. Based on what Drew talked about in the video back in October, he did reinforce that they do want to try and improve Hourglass so that it feels more competitive, so that they can kind of build out a little bit more to that. And to me, what that says is that they're looking to invest heavier in the competitive nature of Sea of Thieves. First off, you have to address pirate health if you're going to be tweaking the meta for weapons. They've talked about how quick swap is in. Quick swap has effectively, unless you happen to dodge the second shot, there's no point in food. There's absolutely no point in food. There's absolutely no point in cooked meats, because most of the time that you get into a fight, if you get two tapped, that cooked meat is wasted. So if you do lose if you do die and you have cooked meat, another hot take here, maybe you keep the cooked meat bonus. Maybe the cooked meat bonus is something that you come back with as a way that you invested the time to cook the meat. You invested the time to make the meat ring. Keep the meat ring persistent until it's actually used up. Maybe that's a way to mitigate it, so you aren't burning through meat in a way that is just a detriment, because as soon as you climb out from the bottom deck, you get two tapped by two people and you completely wasted that meat. It had no benefit, especially if you're eating at full health and you're just trying to get that over health, that passive regen. If you're out of combat, completely pointless if you get two tapped or one balled. And at that point, that is not valuing the effort put in. And I think that the devs should address that either verbally through a video or just talking about it as a known thing. Like, you cannot work with rebalancing weapons without taking a look at the overall combat and time to kill. So I think that there's ways to mitigate that. I've talked about that a lot lately. There's ways that you can tweak and mess around with it. But I'm going to say, like, if you aren't going to make the meat ring an active shield during combat, and it's only going to retain its passive regeneration out of combat, then I think that should persist through death. Because it does through when you get revived. So the difference is you didn't get revived, therefore you went to fairy. All that value is completely wasted. And that is at that point, you shouldn't even bother with meat. At that point, you should just be having pineapples, and you're just eating pineapples for the sake of eating through the damage that's being dealt to you, right? So the other part that I think is really nice is that they want to try and tweak it so that whatever the MMR is, that you're able to kind of fine tune that, so that if you do go into fights, you're able to kind of identify, or at least angle towards fights that are a little bit geared towards what your current MMR is. And I think having a number or a tier or like a grade or some sort of identifier that indicates like whatever type of pirate you are now, and they could go very thematic on this too. It doesn't have to be like bronze to gold or diamond. They could very easily be like swabby, pirate, buccaneer, cutthroat, infamous pirate lord. You know, you could easily thematic or themify or whatever you want to call it, the way to address MMR in a way that kind of indicates that. Plenty of other pirate games I've seen it done in. Just go look at like Skull and Bones if you have any questions. Very easy to kind of identify like what your infamy is through that system as well too, because I think they even do just like an infamy rank. I think you just have like a rank, but I'm pretty sure they also have names associated with those ranks too. So it's one of those situations that it would take a little effort, a little thought, but very easy for them to kind of build that out. So I'm hoping that they work on that as well too. But that'll all hopefully come in with the third portion of season 18. Remains to be seen on how well that is progressing, because at this point, I'm not sure what is technically going to be thrown into the third act. We already know that the Guardian Warriors are going to be the first part of season 18. The second part's going to deal with the Devil's Roar and Molten Sands Fortress as the event. Probably pretty evident how that's going to work out. And then the third part, we're just expecting to be Hourglass. So I'm looking forward to it. I think if they are able to rebalance the rewards to make it like a lot more fun for you to grind out on both sides, and you're starting to actually see like progression and stuff that you can get as you're actually playing through it, then I think that's great. Because I can tell you right now, the rewards for ghosts are pale in comparison, because all you're effectively getting is the mysterious strangers outfits, right? And a lot of the commendations that we've gotten for Sea of Thieves that have tied to having to have a curse revolve around the skeleton curse and different types of cosmetics for the skeleton curse, which to me says that there is a lack of ingenuity on Rare's part to really kind of address how to do ghosts, because it's more than just green and yellow. There's a lot of other colors you could be throwing out there. Just saying. There's a lot of different ways to kind of play around with the ghost effect as well too. You could have part of your body as a ghost, you know, maybe start making parts of your body ghost-like. You could also start working towards having parts of your body visible as a ghost as well, as far as like and what I mean by that is the Monkey Island Tall Tale had people who were ghosts, but they had skeletons inside the ghost, and that was really cool. I said it then, and I'll say it again now. That should be an option if you're going to get your Athena curse, right? I think that should be a viable opportunity there. So one of those things that I'm sure Rare could probably throw in, but I'd be very curious to find out what they plan on doing. And I think that they might actually be looking to try and understand if that is worth doing based on like recent polls and stuff that they've posted. Because one of the recent tweets that they did, or social media things that they did, was, where does your pirate allegiance lie? And there was some there's some teases in there, some Sea of teases with numbers, Roman numerals that have been coming up, and they seem to be suggesting that it's either a countdown or dates in December potentially of what's coming down the line as far as like the orb. We might actually be getting an orb stream again this year, would be interesting, because a lot of the photographs that they're providing are all things that are kind of more like showing it as it being kind of purple. And no clue what that is. No idea what that is, because blue and red make purple, but green and red make another color that is not purple, or maybe it does and I just don't realize it, and it's been that long since art school. But yeah, I get back to the point. 1,700 votes effectively, all voted for Athena's Fortune as the pirate's allegiance. So surprising that skeletons seem to get better cosmetic rewards, especially tied to commendations in game for having the skeleton curse. But just based on the Twitter poll that they did, 60% of pirates who voted went with Athena's Fortune. So yeah, maybe that says something about where they should be putting more effort into when it comes to those curses. Next up on today's docket, let's talk about the potential for an upcoming Orbs stream. This is something that has started to kind of pop up on Sea of Thieves' social media, and they've been kind of going back to some of the stuff that they've done in the past with the mysteries. And in this case, what they've done is they've kind of taken the orb and its kind of magenta hue and placed it in a few images. They've also been putting in the Roman numerals, which is kind of leading us to believe that it's either a countdown or the dates. And I just got to say, just as, you know, a fan of Sea of Thieves in the past, they've done stuff like this, and I really have appreciated it. It's really welcoming to know that, you know, they can go in and still kind of surprise us, because I feel like with the way they've been trying to curtail some of the issues with bugs and instability, they've been trying to re-navigate how they approach development for the game and finding that balance between story and sandbox when not present with adventures, mysteries, or tall tales, how they try and keep the world alive and engaging while still bringing commendations and content for players to play. It can kind of get lost in the sauce. And unfortunately, with things like Grogmanay and Festival of the Damned kind of going by the wayside this year, the welcome return of not only the upcoming Festival of Giving event that I think is actually I may have to actually check this, but I appreciate that they've kind of put it at least in insiders that we're getting a festival that's coming up. And there has been some confusion around that. And I blame that on the conversational aspect of discussing it with the patrons last episode, because I think that there was a misunderstanding on how this is going to work out. So just to kind of help clarify a few things on there based on what I've read and tried to reread over and over again, just to kind of understand, like, how are we going to anticipate this working when it does actually come into the game. I don't believe that you have to give a gift to someone who hasn't already received it. I think the intent is that you can gift whoever you want, whether they've had a gift or not. There is a community goal that will be impacted when pirates who get a gift have not received one prior, and that will then unlock the sales. But for all intents and purposes, if you're a pirate legend, you'll get an emote that you can then offer a gift to other people. And as I mentioned earlier, I think that the legends are still in the minority. So definitely, if you are a legend, try and help with the community goal. Go out and try and find other pirates. You do only have to gift 10 pirates who, you know, to be able to get the guaranteed golden voyage map. There's been some discussion about how this is going to be possible with the player numbers right now. I would say that if you're very concerned about it, I think it's easy enough to have a friend who has a pirate profile, and if you want, make a pirate, create a pirate, have them join on your ship, gift them, and then repeat that 9 more times. So we did find out, thanks to insiders, that this is something that is going to be going from February, or no, excuse me, I don't know where February just came from. That was wild. I feel like I'm gonna have to go see a doctor or something like that. That's wild. So it's gonna go from December 12th through to January 2nd, which is kind of nice. It kicks off the day after the new season will start on December 11th, and December 12th we can start doing the Festival of Giving. As a pirate legend, you will effectively get the opportunity to gift out the generous gift using the emote. When you do this, you will be able to give gifts away using the Legend of Giving emote. Giving at least one to pirates on your crew or other crews you encounter on the seas will earn you the Obsidian grapple gun. Giving away just a few gifts to earn a stash of voyages appropriate for a generous pirate like yourself is the Voyage of Luck. And then, of course, if you give 10 gifts, you'll be given a guaranteed golden map with that as well, too. So you only have to do it once. And the one thing that I actually haven't seen is confirmation that if you receive a gift, you will also get access to the Obsidian grapple gun. So it's interesting in the month of December that we have the charity event, which is going to offer the Obsidian bucket, compass, and throwing knife, depending on where or how much you want to donate. And then right as that is ending, or not, I guess, actually, yeah, going through that till the 18th, starting on the 12th, will begin the actual gift giving, Legends of Giving event, which then Legends will be able to give out gifts and earn the Obsidian grapple gun. So there's potentially, during just December alone, we're looking at 4 potential Obsidian items, I believe, if I've done my math in my head right. So I'm glad that we're able to actually like have some fun with this. It's nice that we're actually getting the opportunity to really kind of capitalize on cosmetics for a good reason. So nice that we'll be able to play around on that. And it's nice that the event itself, the Festival of Giving, is going to kick up right after season 18 when everyone's jumping back in, and actually going to go into January 2nd, which for all intents and purposes, I think is almost mandatory, because at this point, Christmas is going to land on a Thursday, which then gives everyone an additional week to work on getting those gifts given. Because a lot of people are going to be traveling. I know for myself, the last Monday of the month is actually going to be one where I'm not going to have an episode. I'm going to be traveling for Christmas, so I won't even make it back until after the episode is intended to go live. And at that point, I think I might have like one more day of like recoup available at that point, but I don't know that I'll be able to get a actual gift giving thing done. So I will probably be jumping in to Sea of Thieves right on like the 12th and going all the way up until I have to leave on like the 24th to try and get my 10 given, so that I can actually get all of the cosmetics and voyages and stuff taken care of. Because at that point, I don't have to worry about it. I can actually go on vacation and relax, and I will see everyone like on the new year at that point. But Gold Hoarder episode is still going to happen. That is actually going to be recording on December 20th. So not this coming holiday, but the 20th of December is when we're doing our Gold Hoarder episode. So plan for that. So 2 weeks of regular episodes coming up, and then the last one is going to be the Gold Hoarder episode before I shut down the podcast for for a week and go back to that. So we'll have 3. New Year, we'll be jumping back into Sea of Thieves and getting into like closing in on that 400th episode. So as far as I'm concerned, I hope that they do an Orb stream. I know this whole season is going to be kind of around the idea of the dark ancients, the ones that were kind of left behind when everyone else, of all the other ancients, basically went off to the Sea of the Damned, which for them was like paradise. It was basically the best version of the world of Sea of Thieves as you could imagine. That was their grand like area. They had that. Everyone else got left behind. There was a fair few of the guardians, the actual like ancient guardians, who were kind of left to stop people from being able to get access to the dark ancients, who were the people that probably not the best intentions for people, for just people in general. Like generally they are the not good people, right? So they left the prisoners, they left the people behind, they buried them, and then they kept them secret for all intents and purposes until we found out about the widow and such. So the widow is going to be very prominent this coming season, as she is kind of the one that's been whispering to Flameheart through the orb, and kind of like telling all these little secrets and stuff that have been driving him to go send us out to go look for like the different Reaper chests and the sarcophagus and the urns and stuff like that. They've been trying to get those all pulled together and such. So very interested to kind of see how this plays out. I think that it'll be very interesting additionally to see if we actually do get an orb stream and what all these Roman numerals are leading towards. Could be addition. We have to add up something to something else. I don't know, but it's cool that they're doing it. I'm sure Ancient Isles University has probably figured out a lot more at this point, and I just haven't actually seen a whole lot from them on social media that's really kind of talked about it. But it's definitely cool that we're getting back into this, because it's been a hot minute, and I think that was something that was sorely missed it by a good group of the community to kind of see like what's going on. So without any big fires, I think we've kind of actually gotten to the point where we can start going back to focus more on what's cool about the game from a lore perspective, as opposed to is stuff broke and when fix, because I think that's a lot of people's questions when it comes down to it. Obviously a lot of the fixes still not working. I think I'm still running into issues where I buy a crate from the merchants and I grab it, it claims it, and then it just doesn't actually show up. Like it doesn't actually just show up in my hands. So I either have to relog or go to a different vendor and buy something, or I have to like go to a different outpost and try and claim it from that merchant. It's weird. It's still kind of wonky. It's better, but it's still kind of wonky. So, but I think that kind of wraps up a majority of the stuff that I wanted to cover this episode. Obviously, the new month is coming, with them releasing season 18 a week earlier than I anticipated. This week will probably be teasers and trailers of what is going to come in the season, as far as like expectations. And then obviously the week of, we'll probably get the deep dive videos for the content and what to expect going into it, with the introduction of the new boss or the new enemy type, as well as like what happens as a result of that, and the new weapon that we're getting, which I'm still kind of confused about what the point of it is, but we're getting a new weapon, not like a weapon that you equip, but a temporary or like a found in the world weapon. So they'll probably dive into that, and we'll probably talk about it on the podcast. So, but until then, at least you got a little bit of a refresher on what we should be expecting towards the later half of the season, as well as some of the cool stuff that's actually coming for this month, just as like a community note. So Pirates, if you guys get a chance, definitely make sure you check out your favorite streamer to go and support the cause. If you are looking to donate, you can donate directly through the Treasures of Hope website, but if you're going to do it, I would recommend, because every streamer gets a goal of trying to raise $1,000, which is it's high, but it's not terribly high. So definitely feel free to go and look for some streamers out there who have space on their goal to earn. If you get a chance to donate, or if you plan on donating, try and help them get the goal so they get that bit of a recognition and a nice little, like, hey, their effort and their time well spent because they helped the cause by being available to stream to help promote it. So that is going to do it for this episode, though. All right, pirates, if you enjoyed this content, as always, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Definitely, if you get a chance to subscribe to the YouTube version of this, or if you have a chance to leave a review on any of the sites that you use to listen to the audio version of this, it's always appreciated. But it's never anything that I really focus too much on. Realistically, the podcast, the word of mouth of it is what does the most. People talking about like where they heard about the content that they're listening to on a regular basis does a lot more than whatever weird algorithms YouTube has set up that is probably all funded and created by people looking to sell advertising. So that is again gonna do it for this episode. So if you guys want to reach out, there's plenty of ways to do it, either through social media on the handles that I have as far as like Blue Sky and Twitter at CaptainLogun, the email address CaptainLogun@gmail.com. But realistically, talking to me through the Discord server, probably the easiest way. I tend to get a lot of bots or people who are trying to sell me artwork for streaming that I don't do that often of when they just add me as a friend on Discord. So if you've ever tried to add me as a friend on Discord without saying a word, chances are I'm probably going to ignore it because I've been conditioned to believe that you are a bot or someone trying to sell me something. So if you want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. But at that point, have the conversation. You don't have to friend me on Discord to have the conversation. My DMs are open, so you're more than welcome to do that. But realistically, the conversation is probably better to have in the actual Keelhauled Discord. So links to that and everything else are in the show notes for this, or in the notes below if you're looking down in the YouTube video. And with that, pirates, I think that's going to do it. So pirates, thank you. I love you. And I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.